It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl. Today, two outstanding middle schools vying for the chance to become the last of our 4 semifinalists in this year's competition. Let's meet them now. First, from Stephen Decatur Middle School, would you please say hello to Julie Gallo, Juan Padilla, and Wilberto Arias. And from Walker Mill Middle School, say hello to Paris Smalley, Joseph Yambo, and Max Hernandez. And now here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green Things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body Systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's Get Physical, questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
Here on the Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to question difficulty, with the easier questions on the left worth 5 and 10 points, the tougher ones worth 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest question of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points. No penalties ever for incorrect answers. And to the 2 rounds today, one of these 2 talented, good-looking teams will come back to play our game again and perhaps advance to the semifinals. Let's go over and make sure everything works properly. Before we start, let's go to the red team 1. Would you try your buzzer? Thank you, young man. Good luck to you, to Wilberto, and to Julie. And Joseph, would you try yours? That's a group push going on over there. Joseph, Max, and Paris, good luck to you as well. Congratulations for being selected to represent your schools. You guys have won just by being here. Let's have a good game. We go alphabetically, S before W. So Stephen, Decatur, and Juan, let's play the bowl.
All right. Science Potpourri for 15.
Potpourri for 15 points to start the game is a visual question. Look at the monitor in the studio if you would, please. Quarterback Tom Brady was teased as a kid because of his feet. They said he had feet that looked like this strange mammal, Walker Mill.
Platypus?
That's a duck-billed platypus, yes, showing that God has a sense of humor, kind of a bird, a reptile, and a beaver all in one. Good. Green.
Zoo Parade for 5.
Zoo Parade for 5 points. Teams, your question is, scientists have recently found one of these gastropods that is the size of a pinhead, a gastropod that is often associated with going very slowly, Walker Mill.
Snail.
A snail. That's it. Good. Go.
Body Systems for 20.
Body Systems, 20 points. Teams, big words, simple answer. The articulation of the tibia and fibula bones with the talus bone leads to this joint that is often, Walker Mill.
Knee.
Nope. Stephen Decatur, the articulation of the tibia and fibula bones with the talus bones leads to this joint that often gets twisted.
Ankle.
Ankle, absolutely right. Good. Red. Juan. Thanks, Wilberto. Good assist.
Green things for 20.
Green things for 20 points. Teams, the blue coloring substance that comes from lichens produces this substance, which means colored moss. It's the substance you find in the papers you use in class to determine if something is an acid or a base. Walker Mill.
Litmus.
Litmus, yeah. Litmus means, in the Scandinavian language, colored moss, derived from the lichens. Good. Green.
Let's Get Physical for 15.
For 15 points in the Let's Get Physical category, 2-part answer. I need both answers. Listen carefully. The most common gases used to disinfect water have the formulas Cl2 and O3. Name both gases that are used for water disinfection. Cl2 and O3, Stephen Decatur.
Carbon and oxygen.
No. Good try. Gases now. 2 gases, Cl2 and O3. Walker Mill, do you have an idea?
Chlorine and Oxygen.
Good try. Chlorine is Cl2. O3 is ozone. Ozone. O2 is oxygen. All right. 70 to 90 advantage, still green. That means Joseph.
Dateline science for 10 points.
Dateline for 10 points, teams. Research now shows that if you grow up on a farm, you have a 50% less likelihood of developing this A-initialed respiratory condition.
Asthma.
Stephen Decatur.
Asthma.
Asthma. Good. We also would have accepted allergies. All right. Go. Red.
Let's get physical for 20 points.
Get physical for 20 points, teams. If in your lab, your science teacher says, today we're going to make elephant toothpaste, you're going to mix hydrogen peroxide, potassium iodide, and dishwashing liquid, and you're going to produce lots of foamy bubbles, but because it's an exothermic reaction, you're also going to produce a lot of this, Walker Mill.
Heat.
Heat. Absolutely right. Good. Green.
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points, teams. In order to increase genetic diversity, some botanists have recently engineered a plant so that it cannot be pollinated by its own pollen. So if it can't self-pollinate, it has to be pollinated this way. Walker Mill.
By animals.
Not by animals. No. Stephen Decatur? Any idea?
By wind? By wind. It gets blown out.
You have to get that they're going to have to get pollen from another plant, another source instead of their own plant. So it's called cross-pollination instead of self-pollination. Judges, are we all right on that? Yes, good. Go again, green. No points.
Dateline science for 15.
Dateline for 15 points, teams. Governor Hogan wants to build a train that runs from Washington to Baltimore. It would only take 15 minutes because it's a maglev train. What does maglev mean, Decatur?
Magnetic? Magnetic. It uses a magnetic force or magnetic field to push it.
So close, so close. Remember, maglev. What does maglev mean? Can you tell me, Walker Mill?
Magnetic levitation.
That's it, magnetic levitation. The lev part was left out there. Nice try. Score 80-130. Walker Mill, go.
Zoo parade for 15.
Zoo parade for 15 points. Teams, I need a specific answer, not a generic answer. The star of the new movie, In the Heart of the Sea, is also the star of the movie and the book Moby Dick. What animal is that? Walker Mill, be specific.
Humpback whale.
Not a humpback whale. Good try. Stephen Decatur, the star of In the Heart of the Sea, also the same mammal that starred in Moby Dick. Juan?
Sperm whale.
Sperm whale. That's it. Good. Oh, that was a fast round. The buzzer says our first round is over, and our score is Stephen Decatur 95, Walker Mill 130. Great game. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be back with round 2 in just a moment.
I started mentoring my mentee, Dantre, 4 years ago. I always thought about doing it. It always seemed like a good idea.
We were both nervous when we first met, but everything kind of fell into place.
Mentoring is important to anyone that's pretty fortunate in life to have a little bit of time to pass on that knowledge.
Etienne's a very close friend. I look at him as a brother and a father figure. He taught me just focus on the big picture because I would like to give back just like Etienne gave back to me. Be someone who matters to someone who matters.
If you're like most families, you probably have video game fans in your home. But not every game is right for every kid, which is where the ESRB ratings come in. They help parents make informed decisions for their kids. And there's an easy-to-use mobile app that gives you detailed info on specific game ratings. Video game consoles have parental controls that you can set to block certain games by age rating, so they get all the fun, and you get peace of mind.
And welcome back to Science Bowl. So nice to have you here today. I hope you're testing your own science IQ at home as we're testing the IQs of these 6 outstanding young people here. Great game. You can see there's been a slight adjustment in the score. It's 95 for Stephen Decatur, 125 for Walker Mill. Before we ask any more science questions, let's find out a little bit about our contestants and their schools. Let's go first to Stephen Decatur and Juan. Nice to have you here and your team. Tell us about Stephen Decatur. Who's your principal there?
Well, Mr. Blake is our principal. He used to be our acting principal.
Acting principal. Is he now the...
Yes, he's now our new...
Wonderful. And I know Mr. Blake, he's a great guy. Got lots of spirit, and I know he's a great educator. I know he's very much in support of you guys here today. Who's your sponsor or sponsors?
Mr. Delacruz and Miss England.
Wonderful, and they're here, and we'll bring them out in just a few moments. And you had some alternates on the team, didn't you?
Yes.
Can you give me their first names?
George and Jonathan.
Wonderful, and we'll bring them out and your sponsors in a few moments. Where is Stephen Decatur? What part of the county?
In the District 11.
Yeah, it's down in the southern portion down there. And I always like to ask teams, what is it that you brag about when you tell people you go to your school? Like Stephen Decatur, what's the best thing down there, Juan, in your opinion?
Well, maybe our instrumental teams, like our bass, all those people who play instruments.
Yeah. So you have a band down there?
Yes.
That's wonderful. Are you a member of the band yourself?
No.
No, but yeah, sometimes, you know, a step team or a football team or an orchestra can really bring a lot of pride to a school. Tell me what you want to do when you get older.
I want to be a software engineer.
Software engineer. And you're a good player here, and this is your first time on the show, both you and Wilberto and Julie, so you're up against a team that has some experience, and you're doing very, very well. Keep up the good work. Julie, nice to have you here. Tell us about yourself. What do you do in your spare time?
I like to read and I like to take pictures.
Yeah, and you're not a professional photographer yet, but you know you have to start somewhere. What do you like to take pictures of?
My baby brother.
Yeah, and you have 3 younger siblings, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, and someday she was telling me she wants to be a pediatric surgeon. How'd you get interested in that?
Well, I wanted to be in the field of medicine, and then I started watching this show about surgery, and then I got more interested in becoming a surgeon.
That's great. You never know where your motivation's going to come from. You'd be a good one, too. Wilberto, nice to have you here. I called him the Renaissance man earlier because he plays every instrument, it seems. He plays every sport, and he's a crackerjack science student, too. I'm not going to ask you what you do in your spare time. I know what you do in your spare time. You're practicing. What do you want to do someday?
Become an electrical engineer.
Wonderful. And I know one of the judges asked, what instrument do you like best? Can you pick like a favorite among children, huh?
Between the cello and violin.
Wonderful. And what's your favorite sport if you have one?
Soccer.
Soccer. Very good. All right, you're playing a nice game. Keep it up. Walker Mill, as I was just saying, they have been here before. If these look familiar, these young people, they are familiar. They've been here in the past, and they are just as sharp as they can be. Walker Mill, tell us about the school, Joseph. Who's your principal?
Our principal is Dr. Nicole Clifton.
Wonderful. And the sponsor of your team?
Miss Barrientos.
And she's here today. She's very proud of you. And alternates on your team, I know you got a number of them.
We have Wendy, Chibuzor, Taylor, and Jan.
Okay, and they're in the other room yelling those answers out. But you don't need those because you seem to know them pretty well here. Best thing about Walker Mill?
I'd say the overall vibe of like the persona of all the students and the staff. Like they just give up. They just like give everything to the students. They wouldn't let anybody down. They would just keep trying until they got it.
Wow, so there's a nice esprit de corps there. There's a Walker Mill way, and everyone kind of buys into that. Boy, that makes all the difference. What do you want to do someday?
I want to be a nanotechnology engineer.
Yeah, and you told me that last year too, and you seem like a driven young man. You're going to be whatever you want to be. Good player, good player. Paris, nice to have you here. Young lady can solve a Rubik's Cube in how many seconds?
32 seconds and 22 centiseconds.
So she's way ahead of most of you, I'm sure, and certainly me here. What do you aspire to? Something in pulmonology, right?
Yes, so I aspire to be a pulmonary researcher.
How did that start?
So growing up, I have been in and out of hospitals. I was diagnosed with chronic asthma at a young age. And so being a pulmonologist or a pulmonary researcher would be my way of giving back to everybody who has helped me.
Boy, that's wonderful. So giving back because you've been the recipient of a lot of great help and a lot of good medical care. And what else do you do in your spare time?
I speed solve, aka Rubik's cubing solving.
Yes.
I also am learning how to play guitar.
Yes.
I do a lot of reading at home and writing.
You're so well spoken. You know, you could do something as communication. Don't rule that out. And Max, young man who is headed to Gonzaga next year.
DeMatha.
DeMatha, excuse me. Sorry about that, DeMatha. And you're going to be receiving scholarships for a number of reasons, huh?
Yeah, band, academics, and football.
And football. What instrument do you play?
I play the alto saxophone.
Wonderful. All right. Why'd you want to be on this show?
This is my last year of 8th grade, and you know, I just thought it would be cool to end it with a bang.
Yeah, I like that. And the last time Walker Mill won the county championship was in 1997. So it's been too long, right, Max?
Yeah,
it's been too long. All right, so he's out to bring that trophy back. Good player. Let's get back to our game. Our score is 125 Walker Mill, 95 Stephen Decatur. Lots of points to give away, including all of the toughest questions. Last correct answer came from Juan. Would you start us out, please, young man?
Science potpourri for 25.
Potpourri for 25 points. All right, three-part answer. Listen carefully. WSSC, the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission, conducts classes for students like you, and they teach students that to avoid fog, F-O-G, an acronym for the three things you should never dump down your drain because it will clog it. F-O-G. What are the three things you should never dump down a drain at home? Walker Mill thinks they know all three of them. And Stephen Decatur is talking among themselves, but Joe, you have the advantage to go first.
Can I pass it to Paris?
Sure can.
Food, oil, and litter. Litter?
F-O-G, no. It has to be those three. Those are the three letters in the acronym. Good try. Stephen Decatur, you have had a chance. You can get your 25 points here. Put you almost in a tie. What you got?
Food, oil, and garbage.
Good try. It is fats, oils, and grease. Those are the three things you shouldn't dump down there, in addition to the things you also mentioned. All right, go red.
All right. Body system for 15.
Body system for 15 points. Teams, Hiccup was the guy who trained Toothless the Dragon in the movie. A hiccup is also a spasm in what muscle, Walker Mill?
Diaphragm.
Your diaphragm, yeah. Good answer. Go green.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems, 10 points. Teams, forget fingerprints, forget any kind of other kind of admittance to a secret facility. Now, if you want to get into a super secret facility, it's not the pattern of your voice, it's not the pattern of your fingerprints, it's a scan of this back part of your eye. Walker Mill?
Iris.
Not your iris, it's a scan of the what back part of your eye, Juan?
The retina.
Retina, yeah, those retinal scans. Good. Red.
Green things for 25.
Green things for 25. Big one in that category. Teams, cactus can reproduce sexually, but they also, if you take a cutting, reproduce asexually, which is also known by what V-initialed term? That's called vegetative reproduction. Vegetative or vegetatively. Try again, red.
Body system for 25.
Body systems for 25 points. Teams, someone who has high blood pressure has to worry about a lot of things, but the thing they worry about most is LVH, left ventricle hypertrophy, which in simple English means that your heart is what? Walker Mill.
That your heart overheats?
Not overheats. Good try. LVH, left ventricle hypertrophy. Big words, simple English, it means your heart is what?
Dying.
It's too big. Hyper means too big, and trophy means growth. Too big, an enlarged heart. Try again, red.
Let's get physical for 10.
Get physical for 10 points. Teams, Edward Scissorhands might have had a tough time going to the bathroom, but mechanically he was in good shape because his hands were what kind of simple machines? What kind of simple machines, Walker Mill?
Levers.
Levers, yeah. Those are first-class levers, both of them. Go green.
Zoo Parade for 20.
Zoo Parade, 20 points, teams. There is a beer brewer in Ireland who is turning off a lot of its drinkers because they use fish glue to clarify their beer. Glue that is derived from what organ in a fish that helps it to float? The organ that helps a fish to float. It's the air bladder. The air bladder, just like they have in a ship. You got to take a chance here. Got to take a chance. It doesn't hurt to ring in and try. Go green, Joe.
Science potpourri for 20.
Science potpourri for 20 points, team. There is a commercial on television for Clorox starring the little girl from Inside Out, the Pixar movie. She asks her dad, "What's for dinner tonight?" He says, "Chicken." She says, "Raw chicken. Oh, we're having what bacterium for dinner?" Walker Mill.
Salmonella.
Salmonella, yes, sir. Good. Green.
Zoo Parade for 10.
Zoo Parade for 10 points. Visual question. Look at the monitor, please. This snake is no snake. It's caterpillar. caterpillar masquerading as a snake? What M-initialed behavior do you see in evidence here? Walker Mill.
Mutation.
Not mutation, good try. What M-initialed behavior is visible here as that caterpillar masquerades as a snake?
Mimicry.
Mimicry, good comeback. Go red.
Let's get physical for 25.
Get physical for 25 points, teams. If you saw the movie The Martian, and even if you didn't, you know that Mars has no atmosphere. It has no water because the solar wind sweeps right on through because Mars lacks what kind of field to keep those particles away? Joseph?
Magnetic.
Yes, magnetic field is missing there. Go.
Science potpourri for 10.
Potpourri for 10 points, teams. A lot of Christmas catalogs are saying for kids that are scientists, the ideal gift is one of these F-initialed microscopes that let people solve crimes. Walker Mill.
Forensics.
Forensic microscopes. That's your F, like on CSI. Good. Green.
Dateline science for 20.
Dateline science for 20 points, teams. A multiple choice question. A noted hematologist has said that we are going to have to rewrite science textbooks because he has recently discovered how to prevent stomach ulcers and how to recover from damaged nerve cells or how to form new platelets. Walker Mill.
How to form new platelets.
New platelets, hematology, the study of blood. Good. Green.
Green things for 15.
Green things for 15 points. Teams, your question is as follows. Abscisic acid, which is responsible for causing a leaf to fall off a tree in the autumn or a piece of fruit to fall off a tree, is what same kind of chemical as thyroxine and adrenaline are in our bodies? Walker Mill.
Hormones.
Yes, indeed. That is a plant hormone, abscisic acid. Good. Green.
Green things for 5.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, family trees don't have roots. They don't have leaves, but they got a lot of these.
Branches.
Branches, that's it. Good. Red. Thanks, Julie.
Body systems for 5.
Body systems for 5 points. Teams, the large dead comet that flew past planet Earth on Halloween appropriately looked like this head bone with hollowed out eyes and big teeth, Walker Mill.
Skull.
Yeah, it looked just like a skull.
Zuparade for 25.
Zuparade for 25. Big one in that category. Teams, the real James Bond, on whom the 007 character was based, is a real person living in the Bahamas today who wrote a book called The Birds of the West Indies, which means he is what kind of science specialist, since he wrote about birds? Walker Mill.
An aviary specialist? An aviator?
An aviator, that's a good try. An aviator is actually a pilot. I like that answer. All right, James Bond, the real James Bond, having written that book, The Birds of the West Indies, established his credentials as what kind of specialist? He's an ornithologist. Ornithology is the study of birds. Let's turn that green light out over there, Mark, please. Thank you. And next question, we have 4 left, goes to Joseph.
Dateline science for 25.
Dateline science for 25 points. Teams, there is a new science prize called the Breakthrough Awards. They give you twice as much money as the Nobels. These new awards were bankrolled by 3 men, Jack Ma, Mark Zuckerberg, and Sergey Brin. Those 3 men are extremely rich. I'll give you 25 points if you can tell me what 2 of them own. Walker Mill.
Facebook and Snapchat.
Good try, not quite. Stephen Decatur.
Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook is Mark Zuckerberg. Sergey Brin is Google. And Jack Ma is Alibaba, the Chinese version of Amazon. All right, 3 questions left. Go green.
Physical for 5.
Good physical for 5 points. Teams, actor Alan Alda every year challenges the world's scientists to explain a certain scientific phenomenon so an 11-year-old could understand it. The first year it was flame. The second year it was sleep. This year it's this that we measure in decibels. Walker Mill?
Sound.
Sound, yeah. Explain sound to an 11-year-old. Then you'll get the prize. Go.
Science potpourri for 5.
Potpourri for 5 points, teams. Geologists now say that a drop in pH in the Earth's core spurs the development of these most precious of stones. Walker Mill?
Diamonds.
Diamonds, a girl's best friend. Last question. 5 points, Dateline science. An autistic boy recently was able to save a girl's life. She had a piece of apple stuck in her throat because he had watched SpongeBob and learned this maneuver, Walker Mill.
Heimlich.
Heimlich is absolutely right. And with that, our game is over. It looks like Walker Mill has done it. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment. Don't go away.
Minds can achieve anything. We make sure they get to college. Federal student aid provides more than $150 billion in grants, loans, and work-study funds to make college possible for anyone with the mind to get there. Because if given the chance, minds will do great things. Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
Welcome back to Science Bowl. What a game today. It was fast-paced. We are proud of all of our players here. They are exceptional students, all of them. Our final tally is Stephen Decatur 120, Walker Mill 260. Congratulations to Paris and Joseph and Max. They're finally smiling over there. Joe, I haven't seen your teeth all day. Miss Barrientos, thank you so much for being a wonderful sponsor here. And look at all the alternates back there. Chabuzer and Jan and Wendy and Taylor. They had a shadow team +1 back there. First step on getting that title back. Stephen Decatur, let's see some smiles over here. You never played this game before. You'd never know it because you did so well over here. The alternates back there, two brothers, George and Jonathan. Could you wave to everybody? Mr. De La Cruz and Miss Anglin, thank you for all the effort you put in to get this team ready. They did wonderfully today. We're proud of you guys, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on another edition of Science Bowl. Bye-bye.